Hi, this is Jim Tompkins, the CEO of the supply chain consulting firm Tompkins International. The purpose of this video is to share with you some thoughts about a plague which is affecting business. This plague is the fixation on the short-term profitability of the company as opposed to looking at the longer-term value that we're creating in the company. I'm sick and tired of the excuses that I'm hearing about why companies aren't successful. The government, it has to do with the global economy, it has to do with Wall Street, it has to do with a lingering recession. Those are just short-term excuses. They don't really impact the long-term value of the company. We need innovation and we need investment in the company so that we can move the company forward and create real value. I see headlines, companies fret over uncertain outlook, and then they lower their financial outlook. I read CFO surveys that say executives are moving with caution and holding back, waiting to see what will happen. But then the next week, these same executives see the stock market go up, and then what they're doing is they're saying, oh wow, I feel more optimistic about our future now. These are such short-term thoughts. I mean, it's almost like managing the business by looking out and checking the weather. If it's sunny out, oh, I feel good about my business. And if it's raining out, oh, I'm feeling kind of down and I need to reduce my financial view. That's not really running a company. How do we eliminate this plague and instead focus on long-term value creation? Over the last month, I've seen 5 symptoms that have really bothered me with respect to the way companies are viewing what they're doing. The first symptom is they are firing really good executives. They want to keep these executives, but what they're saying is we got to let these people go because I need to reduce costs to meet my short-term profit targets. That's short-term thinking and is wrong. I see companies that are public that are saying we need to go private. In fact, some of them have recently, and they're going private so they can do what is right. Why don't you just do what is right when you run the company, even though it's public? The reason? The short-term thinking is making people focus on how do we do month by month, quarter by quarter. I see companies that are adrift. There's no decision making. Executives, managers, middle managers are not making decisions. They're just kind of going to work and waiting to see what happens. I see employee malaise. I see employees disenchanted. Employees don't know where their company is going. They've lost confidence in where the company is headed. And then lastly, I see a lingering sense of uncertainty. The sense of uncertainty is driving companies into a total static view of where they're headed. And they're not doing anything, and they're not moving forward, and this is becoming very unhealthy. Who's really doing well in creating long-term value? Well, that's the Amazon cure. Amazon focuses on the long term. Amazon, with persistence, wants to grow. Amazon is innovative. Amazon invests in the things that are really important. They invest in their employees. They invest in their supply chain. They invest in their technology. They invest in their customers to make sure the customer satisfaction is really occurring. Jeff Bezos has the largest shareholder return of any living executive. He has a return of 12,266% during his tenure. 12,266%! My goodness sakes, he really gets it. This is long-term value. He does this not by focusing on short-term profitability, but instead by focusing on long-term value. Let's see what Bezos says and maybe get a glimpse of his philosophy with this quote. Our decisions have consistently reflected our focus on market leadership. We first measure ourselves in terms of the metrics most indicative of our market leadership: customer and revenue growth, the degree to which our customers continue to purchase from us on a repeat basis, and the strength of our brand. We have invested and will continue to invest aggressively to expand and leverage our customer base, brand, and infrastructure as we move to establish an enduring franchise. Some say Bezos has a charmed relationship with Wall Street. I say he just gets it right. He really has a view that's strategic and long-term, and that's his focus. Take the most recent quarter, the quarter that ended with the 2012 fourth quarter. The earnings per share for Amazon dropped by 45%. But what happened to Amazon stock on that day? After the announcement, their stock went up by 5%. In the last 3 months, Amazon stock has gone up by 9%. This is not normal. This is a charmed relationship, but it's a charmed relationship because Bezos has earned it. A noted business expert, Clayton Christensen, has said for a long time that the short-term view of earnings per share is often contrary to the creation of real value that comes about through innovation and growth. A more recent quote from Christensen says, "The emphasis on earning per share as the primary driver of share price and hence of shareholder value creation, to the exclusion of almost everything else, diverts resources away from investments whose payoff lies beyond the immediate horizon." Bezos is making the right investments. This is creating real value, and therefore he's rewarded with an increase in the share price of his stock. So Bezos has positioned Amazon to make several long-term investments. Some of these investments people understand and they see, and then others are quite hidden, kind of mysterious, and not out in the light of day yet. But I think what we need to do is we need to understand these innovative investments are what's creating the long-term value for Amazon. For example, they continue to build fulfillment centers closer and closer to major metropolitan areas. It is really clear Amazon is going towards same-day delivery. That's happening. It's occurring. It's really clear that Amazon continues to invest in their understanding of their role in final delivery, in the transportation that goes from the fulfillment center to the customer. It's perfectly clear that Amazon continues to pursue growth opportunities through increased advertising revenue. It's really clear that Amazon is expanding Prime, is improving the benefits of Prime, and they're continuing to invest in their leadership position in web searches by people that are really shopping. It's clear that Amazon is investing in their B2B business and growing that business. It's clear that Amazon is investing in smartphones, in tablets, and in the Amazon Web Services. And so what we see is that Amazon's innovations and investments are huge, and so too are the value creation from making these investments. But what about Bezos? Does he always make the right long-term decisions? No, he doesn't. Bezos makes mistakes too. But interesting, Bezos has turned that into creating long-term value as well. Bezos allows his company to experiment. Let's consider a couple quotes from Bezos, and then we can understand more about his thought process about making mistakes. First, stumbles are a part of life. As long as Amazon can learn something useful, they are fine. Bezos says also, if you invest frequently and are willing to fail, then you will never get to the point where you really need to bet the whole company. Third, Bezos says failure is not that expensive. The biggest cost that most companies incur are much harder to notice because those are the errors of omission, the things you don't do. It's not the things that you do that are wrong. It's by not doing something that you create the errors of omission. Fourth, Bezos says sometimes we measure things and see that in the short term they actually do hurt sales. But we do it anyway because we believe that the short-term metrics probably aren't indicative of the long run. And so the more we work to try to create these short-term improvements and these short-term results, the less capable we are of achieving the real long-term value. So it's okay to experiment and to make mistakes as long as you have the persistence and take those stumbles as learning lessons. We can move forward and create long-term value. The cure for the short-term thinking plague is clear. Stop cannibalizing your long-term success by focusing on short-term profits. Stop making excuses and stop taking long vacations to Uncertainty Island. Become a value creation machine. Follow the Amazon cure. There's 4 things you need to do. You need to really focus on the long-term investments and innovation that bring you real value. You need to be allowed to make mistakes, and you need to learn from those mistakes. You have to have the persistence to keep working. You need to focus on the customer. And by doing these 4 things, you will really create the long-term value that you need to create. Towards this end, we have a gift for you. We've written this white paper on how to leverage the supply chain to create real long-term value. Click on the link below and you can get this paper. I think you'll get a lot from this paper. I think it'll help you. Until we speak next time, I hope you apply the Amazon Cure and you really begin creating long-term value.